the main respect in which God is supreme is that He's the supreme enjoyer. So, to enjoy, you cannot enjoy without variety. There are many things that we enjoy in life. We enjoy action and adventure and excitement and romance and surprises and falling in love and the thrill of not knowing what's going to happen next and all these kinds of things. So the idea that God is some kind of dry, blank, homogeneous force field that's everywhere is quite boring, actually. So there are many different ways that we enjoy and different things that we enjoy, and in order to enjoy them, form is required. So God, being the supreme enjoyer, has a transcendental form with which to enjoy all of these things by the arrangement of His own energies. So this is a very deep philosophy. One has to contemplate it for a long time to really appreciate it. But the main objection against God having form is that, well, all the forms that we have experience of in the material world are limited and temporary, and therefore we think that if God had a form, then that would limit Him.
That's right.
Because in our experience, all forms are limited. But that's not true of spiritual form. Spirit can have form, but that form itself is unlimited. Therefore Krishna, He has unlimited forms and features, which are all transcendently situated, and they're eternal, full of unlimited bliss and knowledge. So the problem arises when we apply our experience of form in the material world to understanding the form which is present there in the spiritual dimension. Then we make many mistakes. Therefore we have to get perfect information about spiritual form from those who are completely conscious of it, the spiritual master, and from the writings of the previous spiritual masters, and from the scripture which is given by Krishna, which explains the nature of spiritual form perfectly. It's not an argument to say, well, form is limiting, because form is limiting, but there's such a thing as unlimited spiritual form.
Right.
You can come back on that one if you have any further arguments on the nature of spiritual form. But basically everyone accepts God's unlimited. So if you say He has no form, that's a limitation. So you can't say that.
Right.
It's a contradiction.
Yeah. Someone tried to catch that Srila Prabhupada. They said, when someone's fully self-realised, they know everything. And you're fully self-realised, aren't you? And he was like, You remember this?
Yeah.
So, and how many windows are there in the Empire State Building?
So, yeah.
And he said, how many drops of water are there in a mirror?
Yeah.
Could you just say something about that? Because I was trying to explain to my mum about what real knowledge was. And I was saying, when someone self-realised they know everything. And she said, so they would know all laws of physics and chemistry. And I said, no, it's not like that, because that's not real knowledge.
That's right. Because it's relative knowledge. Like, for example, you may have studied the laws of physics 200 years ago, but now they've all changed. Because they're inaccurate. They're functional. They have their use in a particular situation, but they're not actually knowledge. And in 200 years' time, all the laws of physics that we have now, they'll all be scrapped and changed for some other laws which will again be scrapped. So it's not knowledge, it's just functional information. For example, you may say to a child, when you turn up the volume on this TV, then the newsreader raises his voice. So that's, logically speaking, and it can be proved experimentally as well. You turn the knob and his voice is louder. But actually that's not what's going on. But it's a functional explanation. The child can understand what the volume button does, by saying this, but it's actually not true. So similarly, science can describe the material nature in different ways so that results may be predicted. But that doesn't mean that the actual formulas which are used are absolute knowledge of reality. And that's proved by the history of science. And it's also proved by the fact that no scientific laws apply in all circumstances. Like for example in mathematics, if you measure all the angles in a triangle, they add up to 180 degrees. But if you measure the angles between 3 planets in space, you'll find that they'll add up to more than 180 degrees. Why is that? Because the scientists say of the curvature of space. Just like if you draw a triangle on a football and you measure the angles, you'll find it comes to more than 180 because the surface is curved, you see. So that law only applies under certain conditions. It's not an absolute law, it's relative. It's relative knowledge, you see. So when it's said that a devotee knows everything, it means he understands the absolute truth. He has that knowledge which is correct in all phases of time, past, present and future, and in all universes, in material and spiritual worlds. So that's what it means that he knows everything. Relative knowledge is actually not knowledge, but it's just a tool that we use to facilitate our sense gratification or our rebellion against God.
Right. But still, someone totally self-realized wouldn't necessarily know